It's the Wex Appeal Podcast. Barbells, beats, and buffoonery.
3, 2, 1, go! Here we go.
Dope conversations.
Damn, that's my Genghis Khan.
Where fitness, pop culture, and a lot of random buffoonery collide.
I'm coming for you.
It's ridiculous, really.
Hashtag space war.
But amusing.
Wex, you laughed least at me, so you get to go next.
Here's your host, Wex.
I was going to say I blacked out during the explanation. I just heard Spaceball. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Wex Appeal Podcast. My guest today, I'm very excited. We've been talking this past couple weeks, actually. Stephanie Price and Brock Yost from Prodigies, from Pitt. I want to kind of let you guys go ahead and introduce yourselves and tell, a little bit about your background and yourselves. And then we're going to get into the teen division of like the CrossFit ecosphere, we'll call it, just kind of everything that's going on, the whole thing that's going on, which is, teens coming up in the sport and all the ways that you guys are working to develop.
Mm-hmm.
So Stephanie, we'll let you go first. We'll let ladies go first. And
that's a great way to say it. Well, hi. Well, thank you so much for having me. I'm super excited to be talking to you today. I'm just going to say this right out the gate. You are the first person that we have talked to since the Teenage CrossFit Games. And that happened last August, the last week of August last year or 2024 this year. And so we're super excited to be talking about it. So my name is Stephanie Price. I'm for the CrossFit Games, my title was Director of Operations, basically event coordinator. So I handle all the things outside the ropes. And my interest in this whole field got started through my own son, who's 21 now. He was a CrossFit Games athlete in 2019. He was 15 years old. And he took 10th and did a great job at the games. I was a newbie to all of that. So I had started CrossFit and my kids started CrossFit. And then my son was one of those things where he was like, oh, he's pretty good. And then was like, well, maybe I didn't even know it was a sport. I didn't know any of that. But the better he got, the more I had to learn pretty quickly. So over the time of about 2 years, we went to probably 6 or 7 competitions, including Wadapalooza, the Fittest Experience, Granite Games, and then the CrossFit Games. So I was kind of thrust into this position where I was, when they're 14, 15, you're their agent, you're their coach to some degree, you're their the financer, you have to do all that stuff. So I learned a lot about competition and how to do that. We came over to Triple River CrossFit, which is in Southwest Michigan, about 30 miles north of the state line. It's Notre Dame country, but Michigan. But anyway, and I came over to Triple River to really come under the community at Triple River CrossFit with the Yost. Just such a great community. I think anybody that knows us knows that. We have a great group of people there. We have everybody from little tiny kids all the way up to one of the athletes I was talking with one day was 84. She was doing dumbbell snatches from a seated position, and I was just having such a great time with her. So love the community there, and really the vision for all ages and all abilities. We have an adaptive event that we have there. We have several adaptive athletes, but really with Brock, particularly his perspective as a coach and as a dad for our youth. And so that's why my family came there. So everyone in our family goes, it's the Pitt Fitness Ranch is the acreage that the Triple River CrossFit affiliate sits on. And so our whole family's at the Pit, from my 13-year-old son, who's in the Arnold Pit Training League. And he's now back squatting. I think Brock, he just did 165, which he was super proud of. All the way up to my 62-year-old husband. And so our whole family's there at the Pit. And so for the past 5 years, we've been putting on a big competition, a couple of competitions and some camps, mostly with that teen and collegiate age athlete focused. And that's my story. On my off hours, so to speak, I'm a nurse, and I work in the forensics department in the emergency room, which is a whole different world. And love it all.
Very cool. And the man with the much more glorious beard than myself, Brock,
I don't know about that.
dude, it's
Hey, they're two different styles, bro. Yours is
very much
nice and clean. Mine just is like wake up and do this a couple times and we're good.
yeah. So give a little bit about your background, kind of, where you are in in this whole thing with CrossFit and, Pit and,
Yeah.
everything you guys have going on.
So I started out as just a blue collar construction worker. My dad kind of taught me construction when I was a kid. If you know anything about construction, teaches a lot about hard work. Discipline. Got to get up early, work late, random hours, all of those things. Grew that into a company that got pretty big for me. Too big that I wanted to deal with too much anymore. We had about 30 employees and subcontractors and projects in all different spots in the country, but it was just not a good quality of life for my family or myself. So try to, during that time, to be on our labor crews, like our hard labor crews, you'd have to do strict pull-ups in my office. I had one of those like P90X pull-up bars in my
Oh yeah.
office door. And I'd be like, how many pull-ups can you do? And if they could do a couple, man, I'd hire them. But they're just picking up stuff and lifting heavy stuff all day, right? But so I've always had that in my blood. Big sports guy when I was younger, football, baseball, wrestling. You know, did some stuff after high school, and then kind of got into just really trying to get it out of kids. You know what I mean? I like to train kids because I see the you can there's a as a coach it gets a little monotonous sometimes when you're just training people that are I love to train everybody, but
Yeah.
my two favorite demographics are the kids and the 60 plus because the gains are so much more significant. And as a coach, when you see somebody make gains, it's like that little present, that little internal win that you get to feel. You don't go around maybe saying it, but when you see somebody hit a 30-pound PR on their back squat after a 12-week cycle, you're kind of like, let's go. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So that's sort of the initial um, drive was just sort of, getting behind, wanting to see people have success in their lives because it's so much more than just the 20-pound, PR. Obviously, we could go down that whole road of cliche. It's more than fitness, but really, man, and that was kind of why we wanted to start a gym originally. So I segued out of the construction world. My wife Autumn and I started doing some stuff in our basement together, and then we started getting the bug. We'd had a couple of kids at that time, so we had two little toddlers. So we started going kind of hard in our second stage of life, if you will, of fitness, your high school sports and all that kind of the glory days go away, and then kids come in and life gets a little bit more boring. But we ended up building we had a sick garage with a big space on the side. It's like 700 square feet with tall ceilings. So
Uh-huh.
put like one rope in the center, bought a rower from a buddy of mine that had like the cage front, and melted some PVC rings. I don't know if you know that old school trick. Take PVC, put it in the oven, and it melts, and then you turn it, and then
Okay.
you put a ratchet strap through it, and then you hang it over whatever, and then you have these PVC rings. But we were trying to do everything old school, not old school, but like grassroots, just because we liked that.
Yeah.
We put sand in a soccer ball. That was our first wall ball. So we were just doing it. We had you know what a Roman chair is?
I don't. I
A
feel like
Roman
I do, but
a Roman
probably a lot of
chair
people
is
don't.
just a thing that you get on like this, and you can like lift your legs up
Oh yeah.
and
Yeah.
do
Yeah.
like abdominal stuff. Anyways, I took that apart. It was in our basement forever, and I lag bolted it to a few studs on our wall and put an old barbell on top of it. It's hard. I have a picture of it. I'll try to get you a picture of me and clip it in. I don't know if we do that or not.
Nice.
But
Cool.
anyway, we lag bolted our old like bro gym Roman chair type deal to the wall and made a pull up rig and started inviting people over, and started getting into methodology and getting on CrossFit.com. And, I remember doing 12.1, which I think was 7 minutes of burpees with a small group of people. And it was just a really simple, organic, fun start to we didn't know what. But we did know that we liked to see the smile on the people's faces when they left our garage, and we liked hearing their stories about how, you know, their coworkers said they were looking, more healthier, more fit, or they were playing catch with their son and they felt like they could throw the ball further or run faster or be more involved with their kids.
Mhm.
And we started sort of seeing that more than fitness type thing early. So Autumn and I decided that we wanted to go ahead and try to open a CrossFit affiliate, and we put out a questionnaire. We had a little Facebook group. We put our questionnaire in there and said, hey, if anybody is interested, we'd like to see how many people would pay this amount of money if we opened a space. So long story short, had a bunch of people say they would. We opened the gym with 30 members, grew out of that within like probably 3 years, met a really awesome couple at our gym who became our investors at the pit. Darcy Jerry Jones and Zoe Jones is part of the Mayhem team now. But so her mom and dad got in with us and bought the pit, built the buildings out there, and we've been running that show ever since. And it just, it goes on to our original conversations that Autumn and I have been having early on, even in the garage. And it's, we want to create as many opportunities for people to express themselves through health and fitness.
I love it.
And when you do that, you in our opinion, that's our little kind of way of backdoor getting the world a little happier. And the bigger the platform gets, the more people you can influence. So that's kind of our driving for our North Star, is trying to create as many opportunities for people to, enjoy healthy lives, happy lives. And I think that going into this, what's up, Stella?
I know we love
um,
Stella. We'll have to tell you about Stella in a second.
Stella's a boss. But basically, we know that if we start with the kids, it's more of a generational type of trickle down opposed to any other demographic. So we figure if that's our goal, to reach as many people and give as many people the opportunity to express themselves through health and fitness, then if we start with the kids, maybe we can teach them good qualities. They're going to pass that on to their kids. They're going to pass that on to their kids. And then you have generational health. And that's what we're trying to build.
I love it. And that's one of the things that kind of drew me in. Like, we'd been talking offline and things like that. And actually before the episode started, we were talking about my daughter, who also is named Stella, mind you. That just seeing kids doing things that you wouldn't normally see them do, especially nowadays. And we'll get into kind of the nuts and bolts of the way health is now, a little bit later on in the episode. But it's such a big thing. And like you said, seeing kids move well, seeing kids, hit PRs, see them get excited about getting into the gym and doing fitness, that, drives me. I'm an L2 coach, as well. I coach at, two separate gyms. And actually one of the athletes that I coach is one of the athletes that came up to Pitt, Gage Harris out of CrossFit Zoo. So he was up there with you guys last year and absolutely loved his time up there. But I've gotten over the past year, gotten the ability to coach him, and it's been just amazing to, like you said, see those gains and see that growth and see them kind of really latch onto something.
Yeah, and I mean, I gotta segue right here to this because I think this is the perfect time. We started something new this year called Pit Training League. Wes, I don't know if you've seen it at all, but Pit Training League is, for lack of, okay, I'm going to say this quite a bit. Our goal is to give as many people the opportunity to express themselves through health and fitness. Okay, well,
Mhm.
if we have a situation, I mean, I'm all in CrossFit, obviously, right?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, we're doing the games and everything, but like, I'm also a strength and conditioning coach in my local high school, and I see 300 kids a day and have for the last several years. And I probably have two kids, and I have good relationships with these kids, and I probably have two kids that have mustered up the nerve to come through the doors of Triple River CrossFit. I mean, over the years we've had several, like it's been bigger, smaller, whatever. We have groups that come in and go out, but what kids want to do is compete. So when they look at CrossFit, they aren't enlightened enough as a human yet. Unfortunately, they're just not that. I mean, some are, but they have a hard time seeing the value in just training just because you want to be healthy. It's like,
Yeah.
what? No, I want to have like a great body, or I want to win something, or I want to, they want that instant gratification. But so they shy away from CrossFit sometimes, and it's, oh man, it's a shame. And you do everything you can do to get them in, because you're like, no, listen, I've been through powerlifting, I've been through strongman, I've done all these things. CrossFit is, when it's done right, obviously, is the caveat always, but it's the real deal. It's right, it's real. But with all that, it's still a little bit too high of a barrier of entry of skill for some kids that may have lower self-esteem. So we thought that there maybe needed some sort of a stepping stone or a pedestal for those kids to get to first before they maybe merge into CrossFit or merge into a higher level of anything.
Mhm.
So what we did is developed a free strength conditioning program that's just a ride along program. But then we have an idea that I kind of came up with, is just like a concept, a structure. Every 100, I'm sorry, it's a 100-day plan. Okay, so every 10 days on the day. So think about like EMOM, but
Sure.
every 10 days on the day, there's a workout released. So every 10 days, a new workout comes up, but these workouts are super low barrier to entry. So like if you're at any high school, the first workout is a 3-rep max bench press. Okay, so you get with your friends, you get the video camera set up,
Oh yeah.
everybody has a big bro session for a 3-rep max bench press, and then they post the score on the leaderboard. Okay, well, Johnny beat Tommy on week 1 because he's a big bench guy, but he skips leg day. So week 2 is a 2-rep max back squat, right? So now the scores even up a little bit. Week 3, they have another buddy, whoever, who can deadlift a lot. And now the deadlift guy is up there because we have a 1-rep max deadlift in week 3. Well, week 4, their little friend all of a sudden evens up because they have a 400-meter sprint. Week 5 is 5 down and backs on the basketball court. Week 6, you see where we're going. So it's still the CrossFit methodology of hitting 3 different energy systems equally. The intensity dial is way easier to push because of the fact that there's maybe not ring muscle ups to qualify for the games. There's not some of these other harder skill barrier to entry things. But what I want to do is I want the CrossFit community and the kids to realize this opportunity to pull their friends in to train with them and
Yeah.
to be with them, and to not feel so isolated in the CrossFit space as a CrossFit competitor. Because the few kids that we do have train with us, the reason why they love training at the pit is because they get to train with other kids just like them.
Yeah.
But if they're at the school with all their friends at the school and they're talking about muscle ups or snatches or this or that or whatever, they don't really have a lot of common ground, and they feel sort of isolated in their own little echo chamber of CrossFit.
Well, that jumps to this question here. And are they easy to do at home? So that's a really good segue into that.
They can be done at home if you have. So I tried to program all these workouts to where you can do them at your home gym or at a track.
Okay.
Or you have to have access to a basketball court, you have to have access to a track, and then you have to have access to a barbell,
Okay.
and actually a jump rope. RX Smart Gear is one of our partners. We have some good partners in this thing. RX Smart Gear came on already. Victory Grips is always a part of everything that we
Hmm.
do. We
Two
have Two
food,
Food
two
for the
foods too.
strength season. We'll have others too, but yeah, basically we're just growing this thing. We put it in the universe this year,
Yeah.
and I've been doing business for a long time, and so Steph's been running events for a long time, and Brad, our team that's in this, we know that it's not going to be some giant explosion in the first year, but I think that eventually, once people see kind of the direction we're going with this, that it's going to be a pretty fun addition to the season where they can kind of join the CrossFit athletes can kind of pull their friends in, and they can compete and find a way to kind of, have fun on that middle ground.
Sure. So how does someone get involved in that? Because obviously we have people asking questions and things about can I do it at home? Can I do it at the gym? How
Yeah.
where can they go to kind of find out all the information and sign up and kind of get connected.
So we go ahead. Brian.
Yeah, no, you go ahead.
Yeah, so just this morning I was sending an email to our team. So starting about December 30th, so right before the first of the year, we're going to launch a pretty devoted campaign to make sure all the information gets into everybody's email. But just literally on our Instagram, you can go to our profile. It's Pit Prodigies is our Instagram. You can go there and there's a link in there to website. So we've got most of the information up there. And I don't know how much you want to get into this, but along with the Pit Training League, which Wibby, yes.
Pitprodigies.com too.
Oh,
or I'm sorry, Pit Training League, right? Sorry.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Okay. So those are two separate, or yeah. So let's differentiate there. So
yeah.
You've got, what is this plan going to be called and where is that?
So I think I know it's, So our overall, like our global Instagram, if you will, if you go to Pit Prodigies, that's where we have 8,000 followers. That's where you're going to see all of our past stuff and our game stuff and our Pit Team Throwdown, all of that. And then the league that we're working on, is sort of under that umbrella, if you will. But there is a separate Instagram account for that. But either way, if you go to the Pit Prodigies, within the links, I have links to all of the information. So there's kind of like two veins this year, if you want, two tracks, I'll say it that way, on how kids can compete at the pit. And or just we'll compete at the pit. So we'll be the Pit Training League, and then the other will be our Pit Team Throwdown, which I know we haven't talked about quite yet. In either one of those tracks. So one is clearly be more of your CrossFit kids, those teams that are familiar with CrossFit. Now that's your Pit Team Throwdown. But then the Training League is kind of like for any athlete age 14 all the way up to 22. So there's two divisions. Cool. There's essentially that high school division and then that collegiate age division. You don't have to be a college student. You just have to be between 18 and 22. And then we're going to only select 20 winners from that Training League to come compete at the pit this year. And then the Pit Team Throwdown will have another 80 athletes. But I don't know if that all makes sense. We're kind of, it's taken us a couple of months, frankly, just behind the scenes a little bit to kind of pull it all together and make sure we have a very clear vision of what we're doing, because we want to be very effective, and we have been very effective at managing our resources and getting the kids back to the pit who want to be there. And that's what they love, frankly. Yeah. Well,
and that's one of the things is that there's so many opportunities for people to compete in CrossFit, but there's not a lot of opportunities for young people to compete in CrossFit. And I love events like, of course, Wadapalooza, Tier Wadapalooza. I'm going there next month. I'll be down there. And, they have a youth division. Atlantic Coast Classic, a very large competition that has a youth division. Tampa Bay Games did a great job doing, youth competitions, but you're starting to see the youth, I would say, movement. You're seeing younger and younger. A lot of those had teen divisions, but like Atlantic Coast Classic is a fan favorite of myself because they have kids all the way down to 7 years old. So 7 to 10-year-old division can get in there, and the movements are very simple, easy for them to do, and kind of generates that buzz about getting out and competing and just kind of learning the movements, and the judging standards are way lower because obviously we're there for them to be safe and have fun. And we're not as particular when it comes to, some of the standards. I mean, obviously certain standards are going to be met, for sure.
Yeah.
But not like you would an elite athlete, not like you would, somebody who is competing and really, being serious about it. So I love those opportunities. We were talking offline. I just competed in a competition called Reindeer Rumble with CrossFit Zoo, where a adult and a child can sign up as a team. So they do male, female, or co-ed teams, and you can compete with your child. So I competed with my 8-year-old. And, we got out there, we mixed it up with some other kids. We had a blast. There was lifting events, there was, cardio events, all sorts of things, but designed with the thought in mind that we want these kids to go out there and have fun and have a great experience, because when the experience is great, they come back to do it again. And I think
So
that's one of the things that we see with you guys.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
Our first year, I'll say this real quick, Brock. 2020, we had 46 athletes, and it was COVID, whatever. 2021, we had 120. So we tripled our field of athletes in 1 year. Just a few kids saying, "Oh my God, we love the pit. Oh my God, we love it." And what they said over and over again is that there's not other kids like us where I live. We want to come there, and they love the pit itself. His program is just like, I've been working with this guy 6 years, and I'm still like, how does he come up with this stuff? Like, it's really good. It's just like perfect for the kids. But yeah, anyway, just to reiterate exactly what you said, we were able to, now we've got, hundreds of kids that have been to the pit and hundreds more that want to come. So go ahead, Brock.
no, I was just saying, so you just did that competition with adult and child or whatever. So we have the same weekend. So we're gonna have a kind of like a week-long festival event at the pit
Mhm.
this year. It's called Pit Fest. Okay, so Pit Fest starts on a Wednesday and we have like a 5K run. And then Thursday, Friday, we have the pit team throwdown. And this is all new stuff, so ears open, they're gonna hear it. So
Oh yeah.
Thursday, Friday, we're gonna have the pit team throwdown. Saturday, we're going to have independence games. So what you said earlier is what we're encouraging for this whole. What's that say? The pit is a whole vibe in itself, my kids. It is a vibe. Let's go.
Yes.
But I mean, that's what we're trying to do. So if you feel the vibe, then we're doing it right. No, but after the pit team throwdown, the pit training league athletes compete on that Thursday, Friday. We are encouraging them to team up with either their friends or their mom and dad or whoever to do our community event that we've done for 12 years now, called the Independence Games. And the Independence Game is a 4-person team competition where you can team up with mom and dad. You can team up with your aunt or your uncle or whatever, right? Also, the kids will have an opportunity to volunteer for the members at the pit who have been doing this competition for the last 12 years, who make this whole pit experience possible for the kids. So that's kind of like our North Star, is just getting these communities to understand that the best way is to work together and to, we're all about old school CrossFit vibes, hence the ranch,
Yeah.
right? So if you kind of just live in the headspace of CrossFit between, 2010 and 2017, that's kind of just where I've always felt the most excited about that world. So that's kind of what we always want to just keep that vibe and that grassroots connection. So that's kind of what we're trying to do, is just expand from that time era and just show these kids what CrossFit's really about.
I love it. And that's one of the things, is that when the parents start getting involved with the kids, you start seeing the level of fitness with the parents go up too.
Yeah.
There's nothing better than I love than going outside and throwing the ball with my kids. And like, I can't fathom a time where I wouldn't be able to do that.
Yeah.
Where I would just, not be in shape to go out and play with my kids or throw the football or do this or do that. And I see it in sports all the time. My son plays baseball, and you go to the field and I look around and you see some of the parents in just horrible shape, horrible condition, but yes, they've got their kids out there, and I love the fact that they get their kids out there, but I'm like, man, wouldn't you like to be out here doing this with them? And to see you guys kind of cultivating that. And I've also worked summer camps and things like that. And there was nothing better at a summer camp than when they got to go against the counselors.
Yeah. I mean,
They
and
get
that's
they get
so,
to line up
yeah.
with them and kind of, mix it up with the teachers or the counselors. And even though they might get, destroyed on certain things, it's just fun to go out and compete with people that are peers.
Brock, he just gave me a new idea, but I know we don't need new ideas, but I could see a pit crew, little pit crew challenge going on with the kids.
Oh yeah, there you go.
They would
For
crush
sure.
us. I don't know. Brad did. So our competition coordinator did a little double under competition. He was hanging with these
Was he?
teenagers. Yeah, he was.
Well, Alexander did it last year at the camp and hit like 300 and some unbroken. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, you're talking about it, when you talk about the parents on the sideline that, we wish they could be out there with them.
Mhm.
I totally agree with you, but that's kind of the main point that we're trying to make is that we want to, if there is a situation like that. I mean, and a lot of that stuff's deep, bro. You know what I mean? A lot of this stuff, the reason why people get to the point where they get to an unhealthy way is something that we need to do a better job of recognizing and being understanding in a different way. um, but the bottom line is that we want to try to stop the bleeding
Mhm.
in whatever family or generation that may have that unfortunate mental problem with food or
Mhm.
mental problem with health or whatever it may be. People are struggling with all kinds of different things, but if we can be a solid uh, a solid beacon of health for these kids, I think and we teach them more than just competition. I know that sounds whatever, but dude, people ask me why I train. It's not to go to the Masters games like I love
Oh, for
Joe
sure.
and Bob and legends, but it's to go snowboarding with my 17-year-old son. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
I mean, and it's also to bench 315 occasionally with the boys just to show them I still got it. But that was my little that's my humble competition side coming out.
Oh, yeah.
Humble,
Oh,
yeah, yeah.
I'm the same way
But
when I'm going up against them in squats. I'm like,
But you know what I
bench,
mean. My
you
point
know.
is really is it really or is it to just be healthy with the kids and then but
Mhm.
also if we can show them that way they won't be the parents standing on the sideline like that. They'll be out there playing with them and their kids will be out there and their kids will be out there and then before you know it, everybody in the world's gonna be out there playing with their kids and we're gonna have a perfect world,
Oh,
right?
of
Well,
Isn't
course.
that how it works?
you brought up a good point,
It'd be
Brock,
world
about
peace.
yeah, no, seriously, that's where we're going.
Yep.
Yes.
But we mentioned Stella, who was on here. Stella Atwood's her name. She was an athlete in the CrossFit Games this past, just a few months ago,
Mhm.
and she also has a podcast. She's out there just crushing it. She's such a great
Mm-hmm.
great athlete, just a great human, and she's a perfect example of. She won the Victory Spirit Award, it's Jacob Morris Victory Spirit Award, which we give to
Yep.
an athlete in each division, and we let the athletes vote on that person
I
because
love it.
we feel like we as the leadership team, yeah, we see stuff, but it's the athletes themselves that we want to hear from. So they voted Stella, and then Stella got a little extra because she had the most votes out of anybody, out of all of the kids. And what was I going to say with that? Oh, just not being, I forget, she did pretty well at the games. But she was a great example of she wasn't there, and she could tell you in her own words, necessarily to be worried about the podium or what her numbers look like or how many followers she had or those sorts of things. But she definitely exemplified what we're talking about, which is I'm here because I'm being healthy, because I'm going after
Mhm.
goals. I'm setting goals and crushing them. And by all of those things, these are the kids, and I say this often, these are the kids that are going to be making the decisions about I'm 53. So, another 15, 20 years, they're making decisions about my social security, right? These are our leaders. So we really want to be teaching them or giving them opportunities, like Brock said, to learn those leadership skills and those life skills and all of that. And, competition and camps and all that is just one way to do it. And Stella was a great example about that.
And she's in the chat. She loves you guys.
Hey guys, just want to take a quick break away from the episode to tell you about Blackout Barbell Apparel. Blackout Barbell Company is an apparel company based out of Alabama. They are a small business, but they travel around to all the biggest local competitions, whether it be Wadapalooza, the CrossFit Games, you name it, they're out there, man. And they are putting their stamp on the CrossFit space when it comes to fitness apparel. They've got shirts, they've got hats, they've got shorts, socks, you name it, they've got it. So make sure you go over to blackoutbarbell.shop, use the code WEXAPPEAL to get 10% off your order, and make sure you get fitted with some of the best apparel in the game. And stay tuned for a collaboration with WEXAPPEAL and Blackout Barbell coming very, very soon. So get over to blackoutbarbell.shop, use code WEXAPPEAL to get 10% off your order and join the Blackout family. This episode is brought to you by Podium Nutrition. You can go to 321podium.com/WEXAPPEAL to save 25% off of your order and unlock the game changer to your nutrition. That's right. I use it. I use the creatine, and it has completely changed the way that I work out in the gym and the results that I'm finding in the gym. I'm getting lifts that I never thought possible just by adding creatine into my diet. And I know that Podium Nutrition will be a game changer for you as well. Not only do they have creatine, but they also have morning collagen, which I love to put in my coffee in the morning. They have whey protein. Most of them are all gluten-free, which has been great for our family. They have the pre-workout. They have the beta-alanine. They have the non-stim pre-workout. If you don't like all the tingles, me personally, I love the tingles. That means it's working. But you can use all those products. Go to 321podium.com/WEXAPPEAL to get 25% off your order and unlock a just absolute game changer in your fitness. Once again, 321podium.com/WEXAPPEAL to get 25% off your order.
So, kind of going back to, this past year, you guys hosted the CrossFit Games for the teen division. And you also, of course, add other divisions in as well. So you've got the 18 to 22 division, which is, something that has been, I don't want to say controversial. That's not the right word. It's been up for debate on as far as how young is too young to go elite and jump into the big pool and how that transition's been. We've seen athletes, most recently Haley Adams, Mal O'Brien kind of take a step back. Haley's back, not sure what Mal's going to do, but, just kind of seeing the mental side versus just, okay, great. You're in shape, you're fit, you can go out there and roll with the elites, but there's such a difference in the mentality going into it. So what have you seen with that? And how does that 18 to 22-year-old athlete in this space kind of find their place? And what are you guys doing with that?
Well, how many other sports go pro right out of high school?
Mm-hmm.
And how many people do it?
Very few.
I mean, waiting, you know what I mean? Like you probably name, how many could you name really honestly? Like 2, 3?
Yeah.
Ever in the history? I mean, so obviously we have a huge fall off of CrossFit Games athletes at that point. This is my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know the real data, but I would be willing to bet that if you were a competitor as a teen and you turn 18 and now you have to compete against all of the pros, that I don't, and I'm not saying, listen, I mean, I'm talking in reality, and then I know that there's some people out there that are like, well, you just got to tell them kids to be tough and do this and that. But you know what I mean? Like they're like, well, they just have to work harder to get to that point. But the problem is what is the end goal, right? I mean, if the end goal is only the CrossFit Games and that is what that kid wants and that kid is driven, you're going to have that small percentage of kids that are going to do that.
Yeah.
But I think the other kids are doing it. A lot of the kids are doing it just pure pressure of thinking that they have to keep going. And if they have a landing zone that's a little short of the games, I feel like they could have a little bit of satisfaction in the fact that they worked their butts off all year and they have something at the end of the year. But, there's some people out there, I don't really want to name too many names, that have tried really hard to make the games over the last few years. They've been close back and forth and they're still on that path. But I think that's when that mental side starts to catch up with you a little bit, where you just consumed, and you've been there as a teen and you should be there. Your parents think you should be there. Your coaches think you should be there. You may be getting paid for coaching by parents or partners or whatever, and all that pressure on top of you.
I'm still here, by the way.
Okay, you're good. All that
Yep.
pressure that's loaded on top of you at that stage is, a lot to handle. And some people have the support system to cope with it and the tools. They've been taught the tools as they've grown up to be able to, use them and navigate that situation. But I would be willing to bet that if you looked at every single college sport that every travel volleyball kid that's been playing travel volleyball since 6th grade, or hockey, or basketball, or baseball, or whatever, and they get to their sophomore year in college and it hasn't been a really successful experience, they're probably going to have some of those same mental struggles. It's not just CrossFit teenagers who are having these issues, it's humans
Yeah.
that have this psychological battle between where they're at in life, and if they aren't taught at a young age that the end goal, the north star of anything worth anything in life is to have a gold medal or a silver medal or be on the podium at the CrossFit Games, then that's going to be a tough road for a lot of kids because only 3 get there every year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
and to jump on that, I would totally agree. I mean, that age group, if you will, once you start, I would say after about your sophomore year into your junior year, you're 17, people are asking you what you're going to do, where you're going to go to college. You might not even want to go to college, just like, what is it you're doing with your life? That age in general is very challenging because you're not sure. You don't know. You don't even know what you don't know. You don't know all of that. You've got so many pressures, different people telling you what you should value. You're not sure what you value, all of that. And so it's like Brock was saying, to echo that, it's difficult no matter what you're doing. And then you throw into it that, somebody gets in their head that it's the apex of life to make it to one competition.
Yeah.
That's a test of your athletic ability. I mean, I don't know. It's really difficult for me to get behind that as much as I love the CrossFit Games. It's just, And so we really want to take these, give these kids like opportunities to be like, develop yourself. And it's been our mission since 2020. It's written in our 2-pronged mission that what we want is to inspire these kids to have a lifelong love for health and wholeness and fitness. And so whatever that looks like for them. And we just know that CrossFit's a great modality to do that.
Well, yeah. I mean, the thing is we want them to compete. We want them to feel the feeling of competition. We want them to go to the CrossFit Games. We want them to go to the Olympics. We want them to go play D1 ball. We want that. But we want them to go there with the tools that they need to be satisfied with their efforts. Our favorite quote, one of our favorite quotes is, "Let me win, but if I cannot win, let me be brave in the attempt." And I stole that from the Special Olympics. That's the creed of the Special Olympics.
Yeah.
Let me win, but if I cannot win, let me be brave in the attempt. And if you go to battle every day in training, in practice, in the gym, and you can lay your head down on the pillow and be satisfied that you've done what it takes to be a winner in your eyes at the end of every night, and then you go to the competition floor and you take 16th place in a pool of 20, you can still lay your head down on the pillow at the end of the night and know that you've done what it took to do your best, and you can be satisfied with that, right? We want to give them that perspective over the perspective that if you don't win, you're worthless. Or if you don't take this place, you're not good enough. Or if you don't, whatever negative thought that all of us humans put in our heads when we don't succeed above our means. And usually we set our goals way too high, all that stuff. But the bottom line is that we want them to compete. We want them to go to the CrossFit Games. We want them to go to wherever they want to go, but we want them to go there with the right tools mentally and physically, obviously, to dominate in all aspects, mentally and physically.
And to echo off of that, one of these creators that I follow, fitness, I think he's on YouTube or Instagram or TikTok. One of the many things he has a thing that says it's okay to be afraid, do it afraid. Like it's okay to be afraid, just go out and do it, and kind of do it
Mikey
afraid
and the
until you're
Dragons.
not anymore. Yeah, exactly.
You know that one?
What's that?
Mike, you know that one? Mikey and the Dragons, the Jocko children's book, Jocko.
Oh yeah.
Children's book. Yeah.
So
The dragons are small is what
Yeah.
that's like any situation that's in front of you. It's gonna be, you're gonna think it's scary, but go in there and figure it out, and you'll find out the dragons are small. You gotta go fight them, right?
Oh yeah.
And training for competition and going through the ups and downs of that and all the things that go into it. that is also giving them, Brock said, we want them to make it to the CrossFit Games, whatever, but we want them to start businesses. We want them to have the courage to shoot for the job that's just a little bit out of their reach. We want them to have a goal that's like, wait a minute, you're going to join. I mean, one of our athletes who was there in 2020, 2021, 2022 as a volunteer went to West Point, and it's like that's we want. And I know that part of that mentality came from his, his fitness endeavors, if you will. And so it's really about that. It's about growing those kinds of opportunities and those the things that we all know required if you're going to pursue big dreams like that.
Yeah. Well, and you can be fit, but what are all the other things that come along with that? We're looking at athletes coming up in the sport and they're dealing with sponsorships. They're dealing with business deals. You've got the Rich Fronings and the Matt Frasers that came through and started their own companies and their own business on the side that far surpasses anything they've done in CrossFit at this point. So, they have to know how to not just go out there and lift a barbell, not just go out there and, redline it and know how to win a competition, but also when you get off the floor, being able to say, okay, hey, I also have to pay my bills. I also have to feed my family. I have to do these things. So how can I best prepare myself in a business sense of kind of making that next step, whether it's something in CrossFit or it's something outside of CrossFit. What's up, everybody? It's Wex here with the Wex Peel Podcast, and I am here with my favorite barbell in the world. It is the Hero Barbell from Hero Barbell Company. This is the Unbroken Bar. It is Colton Merton's signature barbell that was designed just for him. These things spin amazing. If you've seen any of the posts recently, I've been making some huge gains in the gym, and this is one of the things that helps me get there. So if you want to get your own barbell, I highly recommend going to herobarbellcompany.com. Make sure you use the code WEXAPPEAL to get 10% off of your order and get your hands on one of these barbells. You will not be disappointed. I have one, my daughter has one, and they are fantastic in the gym. They hold up great, spin beautifully, and definitely love getting some PRs on these. Get your PRs and get a barbell that you can be proud of. herobarbellcompany.com. Use code WEXAPPEAL. And one of the things that you guys have done in the past, and you are going to be continuing to do, is the mentorship with CrossFit Games athletes. If you could kind of touch a little bit on that as far as what you guys are doing with mentorship, because that's been a big thing. Again, we were talking offline, while we're kind of working out some technical difficulties, but we were talking about my daughter, and the reason she's in gymnastics is because of a CrossFit Games athlete. And she has gone down to Wadapalooza, met everybody, and everybody knows her. Like it's ridiculous. I go to the CrossFit Games and they're like, where's your daughter? Where's she at? We don't want to see you. So she's actually developing relationships with games athletes, which is, really cool, from my perspective as a dad, but, it's really inspired her to do more things. So how has that kind of been something you've implemented in what you guys are doing?
Well, the first thing I would say is that Brock's been mentoring kids for years. So it's all part of it. Like I mentioned his powerlifting program, and the powerlifting program took these band kids, not even kidding, and they're so cool. Like just these kids that would otherwise never probably moved a barbell in their life. Like he said, they don't come to the gym sometimes, but they're in the weight room at the school, which Brock also helped build. But anyhow, so he's been mentoring all along. So what we did last year, and then throughout the years with the pit team Throwdown, whatever, we've always kind of had in camps
cohort of mentors.
Yeah.
Camps,
I mean,
just like
Jared, they love Jared Enderton, they love Bella Martin, they love these Adam Paulson. They love the.
I mean, we even had Annie Thorsdottir. Remember?
Yep, Annie was
that long talk to all the kids.
Yep, like our their team was training at the pit the year that they went, Team Reykjavik. And then so then last year what we did though is we formalized it a bit for specifically for the CrossFit Games athletes. So we had a cohort, and in fact, I was talking to Scott Panchik last week at Legends, because his brothers were both mentors. So, and Scott is too. Like, he's on our StreamFit app, whatever, and available anytime I want to talk to him. He's always got great advice. So we took Scott. I could list them all. There was 19 total, but like Scott Panchik, Spencer Panchik. I'm not Scott, Spencer, and Saxon, and then Alexis Raptis, Ariel Lowen, like, just names that the kids were all just like, whoa. And I had them all on like a text group, and I was moderating all of it, by the way, but I had them all, they all had text groups, and they had cohorts. So they have 7-8 athletes per mentor, and then they could jump on there and they could ask questions. Some of them would have like calls that they would jump in and have calls with them. And then unfortunately, then the tragedy happened, and then we kind of all got quiet for a while. But either way, so we plan to do, continue on with things like that. The other thing we did last year that was, again, unique to us with this mentorship mindset is we, on our YouTube channel, which is, I think it's called Pit Media, we had, we made some videos for the kids. So we had sponsors like Jocko, we had Victor Grips, we had Push Up Chalk. We had people that came on, and Down Pepper was on there, and Paige Powers, and they came on and would gave their best tips for, this is how you prepare for a competition, or this is how you warm up, this is how you recover. Then within the athlete warm-up area, which again, we'll do something similar this year at both the Pit Fest and the CrossFit Games later in the year, we will have, we had like posters with the mentor quotes, and we had several of the mentors actually in the warm-up area, just kind of scrolling around. Like Paige was there. She's so cute, pregnant, right? And she would just run like a group warm-up, which, if you go to individual competitions, sometimes it's not like that. Like, the athletes don't talk to each other, and they're very not the kids. The kids are much more friendly. We call it your competitor friends, right? So they, instead of everybody kind of doing their own thing and getting with their own coach and being secretive about it, Paige was like, let's do a group warm-up. So at the CrossFit Games, we're doing group warm-ups with the teenagers and their mentors. Like, that, to me, I was satisfied that day. So that's what we, so we can intend to, it's a big part of what we're doing overall is, I would say, education. As we go on through these 100 days, which is the qualifier up to the Pit Teen Throwdown as well, we plan to, lots of educational pieces, and getting the kids talking to each other is a big part of that, because they help each other. They help each other.
Oh, for sure. And that's been a really cool thing about seeing, my daughter, seeing Gage compete. Gage actually competed against an athlete at, I think, Tampa Bay Games, or ACC. I don't know which one he competed at, but he actually won the Tampa Bay Games, and in his age division, and then went and competed with one of those athletes that he competed against in the Reindeer Rumble competition, and did fantastic.
That's what it's
really
all
cool to
about
see.
right there, for sure. And I mean, that's why our whole idea of this Pit Training League, I feel like, is going to be so good, because you're going to get so much more of that. You know what I mean? You're going to get so many more groups that are bonding together like that, and the more of those we can get, the better, right?
Well, and it's funny. Somebody actually mentioned that to me, a couple of years ago at a semifinal. Was like, hey, you should talk to people about doing, instead of the teens doing individuals, like having teens just be teams, like teams of teens, so they learn how to work on a team, and kind of do that whole, have kind of a team division for the teens.
Yeah. So that
Make
is
that out what I'm
one.
saying.
I know, I do. That is one. That is one way that we kind of we have a few very different things in this Pit Training League. One is the recruiting route. So Huddle, are you familiar with Huddle?
A little bit.
Okay, so most high school athletes have a Huddle account,
Okay.
and that Huddle account can be accessed or shared with recruiters. So if you're going to send an email to Michigan because you want to go there and play football, you can send them your Huddle link, and your Huddle link has all the highlights from your high school career.
Oh.
Well, we're going to work with Huddle and add a link for the lifts. So you won't only see like your plays on the field, but you'll be able to see what your 400 is, what your 3 rep max bench press is, maybe what your power clean is or whatever. And we want to create opportunities like recruiting opportunities for the kids as well, opposed to just at the end it's a leaderboard. We want to have like a recruiting ground. Yeah, I was going
Yeah.
to say something else, Wes, but I forgot what I was going to say. To your point earlier, you were talking about something that I just forgot. But
Teams.
oh yeah, teams. So the team part is going to be interesting because we want to create it's just not big enough yet. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like we're going to grow this thing, but to the point where we want to have all the school or a bunch of schools in the conference of whatever school, like say for example, Stella gets a hold of us and she's like, "Hey, my high school is probably a pretty good school. We know the athletic director. They might be interested in doing this pit training league." So we get with the AD and they get 10 to 20 kids in that school into the pit training league. Then we start working on other schools that are in that same conference, right? And then if we get a bunch of schools that are in that same conference, the goal is at the end of the league, you'll have a conference champion, a conference championship team. So, for example, if in our school in we have Three Rivers High School. If Three Rivers plays Vicksburg and Plainwell and Edwardsburg, these other local schools,
Mhm.
plays them on the leaderboard, and we see what team finishes these 10 workouts at the top from the combined score of their 2 best girls and 2 best guys. That's just another way for kids to compete and express themselves through fitness, right?
I
So
love it.
we're trying to get these teams built where you have a state championship team and a state championship individual, sort of like wrestling or powerlifting or weightlifting. Like high school level, you have team and individual track as well, right?
Mhm.
There's some sports that are like that, but that's kind of the angle that we're going. Is we want to introduce, for lack of better words, we're calling it a training league, but a fitness league to the high school and collegiate worlds that is easy to access, easy to train for, easy to be part of a community, and just let it take it wherever they want. If they want to go to the open and go down the CrossFit road, like that's our hope, is that we advance these kids into a higher level of fitness.
I love it. And that is something that I've so desperately wanted for like high school and college. I would love for, functional fitness, CrossFit to kind of work its way in, because the overall fitness that you get, it isn't specialized, which is so great. You can have
Yeah.
that heavy hitter who can lift a lot. You can have that guy who can run the 400 like,
Yep.
super
Do you
fast,
watch football, Wes?
Oh
Do you
yeah.
watch football?
Oh yeah.
Do you like college football or pro football better?
I prefer college.
Right. Most
Yeah.
people do.
Yeah.
Most people do. Well, guess what? CrossFit has college athletes too, and they're really fun to watch because they send it.
Oh
You
yeah.
know what I mean? They send it. And just because they're not pros getting millions of dollars, that's the reason they're sending it actually.
Yeah.
Because they want to be that. So they have a different type of hunger. They're fighting for milk. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Well,
And that's
well,
that's different.
and now they have opportunities with like
Right.
with the NIL. You can get paid. You can
Yeah.
make that into something that is profitable. And I would love to see kind of CrossFit get its arms around and help that cultivate into something that, okay, now instead of watching football on Saturdays, we're watching the college collegiate CrossFit athletes out there throwing down and doing team competitions and doing those, team against team.
Yeah, and we've pitched this to some big brands. One brand, I'll just say it. I mean, we have a good enough relationship. Is Nike.
Mm.
Nike is very, very, very interested in coming in a pretty good way in 26. This year, they are supporting the event, but
Yeah.
not in a licensed way. But they
Gotcha.
are giving product, quite a bit of product, really. So that's something that we're working on, is leveraging our position in the market in different areas than maybe CrossFit is, just to kind of broaden our opportunities for the kids. Because NIL, I mean, Nike's got plenty of money for NIL,
Oh yeah.
and they like athletes, and they like getting athletes on their squad. So, but there's a lot of brands out there that do. So if any are out there listening, hit us up.
Hit us up. Let's get this thing going.
Hit
We
hit
do
us
have
up.
some questions. We do have some questions about dates in the chat. So we got.
I can answer these. So
Okay.
awesome. Well, I will be very excited to see you back in Michigan. So the Pitt Teen Throwdown 2025 date is June. I think it's 26 and 27. 26 and 27. So it's part of Pitt Fest, which is June
Yep.
25. That's a Wednesday, all the way through 29, which is a Sunday. We're kind of leaving Sunday open as a free day. But we've got Thursday, Friday of that week, 26, 27, will be Pitt Team Throwdown and Pitt Training League. So they'll be combined. It'll be 100 athletes total. They're going to throw down. Then, if, like Brock said, if athletes want to hang out, they can either volunteer for indie games, which will be on Saturday, another 120 athletes. These are teams of 4, 2 male, 2 female, 2 divisions, ARCs, intermediate. That's it. We're not going by age or anything like that. It's just those 2 sort of abilities. Then the kids can either stay and compete on a team if they still have some in the tank, which most of them do. Most of them are crazy. They're like, we just want to work out more. I'm like, oh my word. They're like, we wish we had more events.
Yeah.
They always say that. Or they can stay and volunteer and give back to the pit crew, because a lot of our pit crew like to compete in the indie games, if that makes sense. So 26th and 27th of June is your answer. I know Sebastian, I believe you guys are not from the United States, and so but in the United States, that's the week right before July 4th. So it'll be kind of that good old USA theme. And it'll be just throwing down. It'll be feel like a big fun festival with a lot of grit. Probably some fireworks. Brock's talking helicopters again. We had helicopters last year.
We're dropping a Black Hawk again this year, baby.
I love it.
3 seals jumping out of that sucker too.
So,
That is awesome.
Hold whatever flag we want them to hold. They're amazing humans, dude.
And then
For
to
sure.
address Stella's question, this is what I mean about Stella. She's astute. She's catching on. So if you look at the CrossFit Games season, the way the teenagers will be decided for the games by April.
Okay.
Mid-April. Then the games will be, I think we can say it's going to be later August. Here in the Midwest is where we're looking. We don't have a contract signed yet. So the kids are going to have the CrossFit Games teams, and there's 120 of them. That's it, from wherever they come from, 14 to 17. They got 4 months. They got 4 months from the time they know who they are to the time they compete at the games. The Pitt Teen Throwdown and Pitt Training League / Indie Games, whatever, Pitt Fest would be a great opportunity for those games athletes to come get a good taste of competition, test their mettle a little bit, whatever, even before the game. So that Pitt Fest is really designed for everybody. And it's a good, right in the middle of that 4-month break that you have essentially while you're training for the game. So absolutely, Stella, 2 different dates. We expect you to come. We want you to come.
There'll be a
capacity.
qualifier for that too, Stella. So I'll talk about the qualifier. You can talk about the dates stuff.
You got it.
So the qualifier, guys, real quick, there's going to be 2 Well, the Pitt Training League is more of like a league itself, and that has a qualification process. But the qualifier for the Pitt Team Throwdown this year, we're going to do it the same way, because I just really want to have fun with this structure. But they're going to be CrossFit workouts. They're functional fitness workouts, right? So we're going to have 10 workouts. Every 10 days on the day, we're dropping one. So there's going to be 10 workouts for this online qualifier for the Pitt Team Throwdown, and they're all going to be functional fitness style workouts, and they will vary in skill quite a bit, right? There's going to be some hardcore movements in there. So it will be a legit Pitt Team Throwdown competition. But every 10 days on the day for 100 days, we're going to drop one at the end. We'll find out who the top 120 are that we're inviting this year. But it's a little bit different format, but I feel like it kind of it gets you right through the open, the quarters, and the semis sort of feel all in one push. And I like the every 10-day on the day feel. It gives you a little bit of time to kind of get one workout done. And in 100 days, it's over. But you stay engaged the whole time and have fun with it.
Yeah, and it's something to look forward to every 10 days.
Exactly.
like
There's an
people,
expectation. It's like,
pe-
ooh,
well, people talk about the open and they're like, oh, I love the 3 week, and some people love the 5 week. I'm like, I like 4.
yeah,
Give me 4. That seems like 3 doesn't seem like enough. 5 is a little bit much. Give me 4 with a 2-part. Give me 4
yeah.
with a 2-piece, and I am in. I think that time, because it's something I can look forward to, and it's like, okay, every week I'm looking for that workout. I want to see where I stack up with the people in my gym, with my
Or
class, with my 9 a.m. class. The 9 a.m. class at my gym is absolutely unhinged, and they it is a crazy class,
that's
but
fun.
we have a lot of fun, and we compete, we push each other, and literally we have people of all ages that are out there to just make themselves better, but also push each other to be better as well.
So the different, real quick, sorry, the difference
Yeah.
between the pit training league and the qualifier for the pit team throwdown, all the pit training league workouts are already posted. So if you want to know what the pit training league workouts are, you want to like game it or whatever, see if you can win.
Mhm.
I mean, if you like to look at the workouts, but the pit team workouts are gonna be dropped on that date. So we're
Okay.
not releasing all of them up front. We're gonna every 10 days there's gonna be expectation, and people are gonna be on the edge of their seats waiting for that next workout to drop. Boom,
Yeah.
it'll drop. You have 10 days to do it. Boom, next one drops. 10 days to do it.
Okay.
And again, that starts January 30th and goes all the 100 days through May 10th, and then May 10th through 20th is the last chance qualifier, and then
January
and then
30th or December 30th?
January 30th.
January.
Okay.
Yeah, is when it starts. December 30th, I'm gonna start pushing a lot of information out. But
Okay, that's what threw me on the dates. I
Yeah,
want to
yeah,
make sure
yeah.
we got the dates right.
And just, like as Stella probably already caught on, that goes right through the open and the semifinals, the online semifinals. So it's just one extra workout, but it is 100-day qualifier, which we love that, by the way. Like, we thought all about it, and because I think it's going to engender, just like you guys were saying, just I can just see a lot of conversations going, a lot of fun with it as each workout, is there. And so, Stella, I'll make sure that you're included. I was actually going to email you today anyway, so I'll include you in that.
So, asking as someone who has a child that's younger than 14, what are some things that you know youth that are kind of getting to the point of kind of putting their foot forward into wanting to be part of pit, but not quite, age wise are there yet? What are things that they could do to prepare themselves to kind of get into that level in that type of environment?
So that's the exact reason why I wanted to drop this strength and conditioning program that runs alongside of this. So basically, what we did is we put together a little progressive overload strength program that I think is great for kids. 5x5.
Oh yeah.
Basically, and it linearly progresses in weight sometimes, and then we decrease, and we do a few different types of progressive overload structures mixed with some metcons, so they can kind of get a little bit of feel with what that is. And they may have, if they're really young, they might have to have somebody read between the lines a little bit for them on some stuff. But a lot of it is really basic training stuff. I mean, there's some Bulgarian split squats in there, some single leg stuff, some RDLs, lots of kettlebell stuff, and then combine that with a good strength program, and you're going to give a young athlete a good taste of kind of what direction they need to be going in, what a good training session feels like, volume wise. um, so yeah, I mean, that's why that free strength and conditioning program is there. It's for the young kids to get involved in the community, because they'll still be able to see the chat board and be involved in the community and stuff like that. They can post all their scores with the older kids and all that. So actually, another big thing. I mean, there's so many cool things, but nobody cares really. It feels like. So I appreciate you so much, Wex.
Yeah.
But do you know who Wes Kitts is?
No.
Okay, so Wes Kitts went to the Olympics this year.
Okay.
He is a American Olympic weightlifter, and he actually competed in the Olympics. He's an absolute dog. Dog. I
Yeah.
mean, go to his Instagram real quick. He's got like 800,000 followers, yada yada. But he snatches 200 kilos. I mean, he's a giant. But anyways, he's been in the strength conditioning world his whole life. Um, Super cool guy. Similar background to me. We hit it off earlier this year. randomly kind of conversation and talking about Pit Training League, and he's all in, dude. He loves it so much, and he's in a program, the second 10-week session of our kid strength conditioning league.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, so Stella knows West. Yeah. So basically, he's in a program this second week. I mean, the second session of our strength conditioning program, which is going to come out after the Pit Training League concludes.
And
So
that's
he'll,
free. That's free.
yeah, it's
Like
free.
the kids can just jump on. We're just Brock's just giving away free programming for the
Yeah,
kids.
I mean, yeah, I mean, it's, if that's our goal, then why would we have an extra barrier? So,
Yeah.
I mean, if they want to get in there and compete, then they can get in there and compete on that level. And that the 10-week training league costs $100. It's $99.
Okay.
Okay, and there's
Dollar
prizes
a day
along the way.
or a
Yeah,
dollar. Wait, 10-week.
10,
Yeah.
$10 a workout, whatever you want to call it. Yeah.
My
But
math is
yeah,
way off there,
100
but
days.
my math was way off there, by the way.
hey,
I was too. I was
yeah,
like 10 weeks. And I'm like, no, it's 100 days. It's different. But
100 days, it's $1 a day. You're right. You're
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
But anyway, my point is that that Wes is coming in. He's gonna have a big presence in here. You'll know him when you see him. I mean, he's
Yeah.
a Cal strength guy, old school lifter with John North and the Godfather Dave Spitz out there. Shout out Cal Strength, good group of guys out there. But yeah, so lots of crazy things, in my opinion, happening. It's going to take a while for people to catch up and see all the work we've been doing, because Steph and I are the type who keep our head down and work way more than we should be working. And we also have people that work with us that are doing that. So there's a ton of work going on that people don't really see yet or feel yet, and we don't expect them to yet.
Yeah.
But we do expect to start making some waves, in this community. There's a lot of people out there chasing ambulances, talking about every single drop of drama. Not us. We don't talk about it, and we don't. I mean, whatever. We can, if you want to go down that road. Do I think it's productive? No.
Yeah.
Is it productive on a sports team? If you have a sports team, and the local newspapers talking a little shit every now and then about them, then is it positive for that team ever?
Nope.
Ever? Right. Team's got to do good, but when the team does good, you got to notice it, and you got to have grace for them sometimes.
Mhm.
And I think grace is a big word that's missed a lot these days in our community.
I think
so I see
someone.
just go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
Yep.
I'm popping through some of the comments. Somebody said, "Are you going to have a teen summer camp again?" And yes.
So I will tell you what, we decided to push that camp back to like October. And the reason is, guys, because we have, from an event perspective, like from our team perspective, we have December 29th, we are 25 weeks out from the Pit Fest, and it takes so much work. So to add another camp in there before the summer would be a little bit tricky. So we might just push it toward the fall, and fall is beautiful in Michigan. But we will probably have some online stuff. Maybe we'll get Coach Yost on there, do some live stuff or whatever, so you guys can get some good coaching. But yeah, the camp this year is set for later in the year, and that's just because of the bandwidth of our team, frankly.
Yeah, you only do so many things. What is? I guess we'll kind of touch on the status of 2025. Like, what are we looking at as far as like obviously we talked about the throwdowns and that sort of thing, but the CrossFit Games, where are we kind of at with that as far as looking ahead?
Yeah. So last year was awesome. We really thought it was it was an experience that these kids would have never gotten had it went that route. And I think they would all, agree with that. We were in an arena, and then we
Mhm.
went to the pit, and we were all over the place, right? And the workouts were pretty crazy, the whole deal. But there were some logistical challenges inside our community, and there was also a feeling of slight detachment from the community,
Mhm.
if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
So in 25, we're working together with CrossFit and their team, the whole team, to figure out a way to make that experience better. And we have came up with a really good idea, and we're super excited about that idea. And I know in the years past, when I've known the information up front, I've been kind of like, like holding my breath. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Until they release the info because it's changed and this or that or whatever. So there will be a slight change this year. I could say that, but um, it's for the better, and I think everybody is going to really be excited about it once they hear all of the details.
Very
So,
cool.
um, unfortunately, that's kind of all we can say
Of
at this
course.
point.
Of
But
course.
but good things. And like I say, lots of work behind the scenes. We're not throwing a dart at a board going, well, I guess we'll do that, and then turn it away and leaving it go for a month. It's like, no, there's a lot of work going on. So for what this is, there's a lot of work going on.
And I did
If you
just
did,
think of something that relates to both questions. So while we're not having a camp, we are doing the games. Check this out. So, and this year, if you notice the ways that semifinals are done, it has to be done in an affiliate with
Mhm.
a group of judges that have taken the advanced course, have their L1s, etc. So we at the pit plan to be one of those affiliates. And so I actually put it on our event calendar. It's like April 3rd through 4th, whenever it is, for the age groups, that I expect a bunch of people at the pit. So while it's not but an official summer camp or anything that we're running, we definitely will be running a lot that weekend as far as judging you kids, like letting you come stay, like running
we
heats
could do
of
like a
when
little
you
tuition weekend that weekend and set up some
yep
cabins. And we have a good relationship with a company called Blue
blue
Canoe.
yeah.
Okay.
They're basically a bunch of little resorts right down the road, little cabins, and that's where the campers usually rent those out. But yeah, we'll
It's
definitely have some people that weekend for sure. That's gonna be a
yeah.
huge weekend.
Yeah, it's a big deal. So that's the beginning of April. It'll be a little chillier, but I'll guarantee you that. So consider us one of your sites for being able, and we've had people do that in the past, sort of more less formally, like
Mhm.
just travel from wherever and be like, I'm going to come do my semis there. And we're like, yeah, come on. So we'll set you up, help you with your videos, all that stuff.
Which is, oh my gosh, one of the biggest things that I've worked with athletes on is like, hey, you can be as fit as you want to. If you have a horrible video, you're gonna get screwed. Like you need to know the logistics. Or you
Yeah.
need somebody there that knows the logistics. You need somebody there that knows, okay, this camera angle is going to be the best for
Hmm.
making sure we capture everything. You're not gonna get dinged for penalties. You're not gonna walk out of the frame on accident. You're gonna, make sure that everything is as it should be. And it's things that athletes who are just focused on the competition side of it and just focused on the movements don't think about. So one of the
Check this
biggest
out.
things, yeah.
I'm talking exactly what you're talking about. During our training league and the qualifier, we kind of have a new process on how the videos get not officially validated, but we have like a filtration process that we're putting in play,
Mhm.
and everybody has to post a video every time, and the community can vote whether it was a good video or a bad video,
Love it.
thumbs up or a thumbs down. So
Yeah.
basically, like if there's all of our pit crew judges, say we have 40 judges, we're going to give them the opportunity to look at this. And if they watch it and they see a bad, some person not going below parallel, they'll put a thumbs down. Basically, at the end of the day, we'll be able to look at these and kind of go, okay, well, this is it. This one sticks out big time. Let's make sure that we for sure go through these with a fine tooth comb and make sure this is legit as possible. Or, this one got all thumbs ups. Let's watch it once, make
Yeah.
sure that these are legit, and then move on. But that's a hard game. The video review process. It takes a
I've
lot to do it right.
I've been on that video review process for the Open.
It's
So I've
hard.
actually been on that team that got the videos, and they're like, okay, hey, you need to watch X amount of videos. Oh, by the way, it's a 20-minute AMRAP. Like, just
Yeah, dude.
shoot me. You know?
Double unders from like
Yeah.
30 feet away. It's like,
Or 2-foot takeoff on a burpee over, burpee
oof,
over bar. It's just like, and the speed at some of those athletes go, you literally are just like, I have no idea. I can't tell.
it's a lot.
Yeah,
So,
it's a
if you get
lot.
a bunch of people doing it, I mean,
Mhm.
and that's the cool thing, the CrossFit community is pretty honest. Well,
Mhm.
they're brutally, they're brutally
Brutally.
honest, really.
Yes.
But they, I think in that way it'll work. It works pretty good because it just lets the people vote, sort of, so to speak.
Well, and
Absolutely.
then
We also have the final answer every time. Like, I'm
Yeah.
not gonna just let,
yeah.
yeah.
And de facto, you ended up bringing up a good point that I'd forgotten about, which is parents. So a big part of our demographic, yeah. And as we've been talking with people on the other end, the masters, I was talking with them this past weekend at Legends, and I was explaining how our demographic, we have a whole nother layer of people. So yes, we have the athletes, but guess what? We have all their parents. And those parents, I mean, I remember being that parent, just terrified that I was going to screw, it was going to cost him his whole competition. And how much should I make him responsible for that versus me doing it? Should I hire someone to do that? Like, oh my word, it is so much stress on a parent. I'm not even kidding you. And so we really have always aimed to help alleviate that, help educate the parents. We always have like a parent, we have a parent advisory group, but then we also have like parent lunch and learns, if you will, or conversations where they can come and ask questions. Because within the CrossFit space specifically, you have everything from a parent who doesn't know what a clean and jerk is to CrossFit Games athletes, and affiliate owners. So I was thinking back when you were talking about the videos. As the parent, I'll tell you what, it is so nice to be able to say, you know what, I'm gonna let the pit people handle that, for however we work that out, that relationship. But anyhow, oops, there goes Brock.
Nope, we lost Brock.
Okay.
That's okay. He should pop back in. So, what is kind of the plans? Are you guys coming to Wadapalooza this year? Tier Wadapalooza coming up in like a month. I think we're just about a month out. I will be there. For anybody listening, I will be there. I'll be on the podcast stage, hosting the podcast stage, and we have some amazing panels coming up. One of those talking about teens to masters and the whole, the whole demographic.
Perfect. Yeah. So I won't be there. I'm pretty sure Brock plans to go. I know he went last year. We love Wadapalooza though. It's great. And one of the things that's nice about Wadapalooza is they go all the way up to age 18. So those, the teenage division, those older boys and girls can continue. So I don't know if he's audible yet, but
Can you guys hear me?
We can hear you. We can't see you. We're back to your laptop, huh?
Yeah, my bad.
No, all good.
Brock, where you going? You're not sure yet? He's asking about
I'm not sure yet. It's a busy time of year for us up here too. So if there's a window out, I love going. It's always fun to thaw out the Michigan bones down there in January, December,
Oh yes, and it'll be on the beach this year.
If we're not there personally, I will tell you that I can definitely send you. There's a lot of the kids. I feel like you should get these kids on your podcasts, to different panels, and they'll tell you. So like Stella would be a good one. She runs her own podcast. I don't know
if she's still in the chat. Stella, are you going to be down at Wadapalooza? If she's in the chat, we'll have her pop on here.
But if not, I have tons of names of, like Haley Rolfe, for example. She's on a team. She was a CrossFit Games athlete. I think she's 20 now. And that's one thing that we loved about our event at the games too, is like all of our MCs was my son, who's 21, and Haley, who's 20. Our whole demo team they were 21 and younger. They were all CrossFit Games teenagers who are older now. And so those kids, there'll be enough of those kind of people at Wadapalooza that they can jump on and tell you from their perspective how they're feeling about things. So I'll make sure to forward you some names.
Absolutely. And tell them to come find me, because I'm horrible at just picking people out of crowds. But well, hey, I've enjoyed having you guys on and talking about all this. And this definitely won't be the last time. We're going to talk more, and we'll talk more offline as well, in regards to, what you guys have planned and when we can announce some things. But thank you guys so much for taking the time to come on the show and do this. I hope that, everybody who's listening is, got just kind of a wealth of information. But before we go, one thing I like to do is have you guys just kind of shout out everything that people can connect with you guys at, either personal Instagrams or the Pit Instagram or, YouTube's, like give them all the info on everywhere they can find you.
There's a lot of information on pitprodigies.com.
Okay.
And Pit Prodigies on Instagram, Linktree, like Steph said earlier. But go ahead, Steph.
Yeah, I was just and I would say Instagram right now is probably the best place to go. And then just DM me. And there's a few of us on there who will go through those messages. So Pit Prodigies on Instagram will at least get you. We'll start funneling where you need to go and make sure you get the right information. It's probably the easiest place to find us initially.
Fantastic. Well, guys, thank you guys so much again. Oh, Stella said, I wish. So I guess she is not going to be at Wodapalooza this year, but
that's okay. She's going to be busy training and
I think she actually follows my daughter on her Instagram as well. So it's funny because my daughter's name is Stella as well. So I always pick it out. Oh, there he is. He's back.
Yes.
Did you figure out your computer?
You know what? I'm going to do something here and hopefully everybody's listening. I was wrong. Wex was right. I have a little slide at the top of my laptop. Off. On.
Yeah.
So I learned something today, you guys. Come to never sign up to a podcast with a dead battery on your phone. And you could potentially have a little slide off and on up here. So
yes. So the reason we started at 9:10 is because we had 10 minutes of trying to figure out computers and
well, it's me. I'm 43 this year, you guys. So I qualify for that, that non-technical. I mean, I've been through a lot of technology in my life, bro.
Listen, hey, we were all there before there was internet.
Yeah.
During and now the AI.
All phones used to look like this with a cord on them.
Yes.
Hello?
Yep.
You'd
have to go in the other room and close the door over the cord. I remember all these things. Now we're just three old people talking about old technology.
I'm a nurse now, but I was my first degree and my first job was journalism. So I was a newspaper reporter. And this was before Google even. I didn't even have a cell phone when I first got started. So you couldn't just Google stuff. You had to go through the yellow pages. Or you had to actually call somebody on the phone and see if you could set up a time to come talk to them. Or you had to go to the library and ask the librarian to pull you stuff. This is I'm telling you. So anyway, thank you so much for having us.
Well, thank you. And, look forward to seeing everything that's going on. And we will definitely be in contact, throughout the season and kind of checking in. And you're probably going to see some of my kids come through there at some point, whether it be, Gage coming up there from coaching or my actual kids getting old enough to come up and play.
Our volunteer team does have a youth corps. So we did. Yep. And that's a good way to sort of just get your feet wet and get a feel for what events is like. So that's fun. The youth corps, they're hilarious. They, we give them jobs to do during the event and they have a great time and they feel
And what's the age of that?
About 10 and older ish.
All right.
Long enough, old enough that they'll do what you tell them.
Yeah.
Do what you tell them, not wander off. But
I was gonna say my daughter at this point has been in CrossFit longer than most adults. She's 11 now. She's about to turn 12 and she's been competing since 4. We did that CrossFit competition that I talked about, earlier. We did it when she was 4 and she's been doing it every year since then. So she's one of probably the most seasoned CrossFit athletes out there and she's only 11. It's quite ridiculous. So, well, awesome. Thank you guys. And we'll be chatting soon.
Thank you guys. See ya.
You've been listening to the Wex Appeal Podcast. Get connected by heading to Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok at Wex Appeal Podcast for more bonus buffoonery and to get the full Wex experience. Plus, make sure to subscribe on your podcast app today. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time for more barbells, beats, and buffoonery.